We are on day 2 of Harry's testimony, and did he just admit defeat on the stand this morning? Oh my goodness. Let me go through with you all the updates and, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, why he has absolutely lost this case against the press. So I'm going to give you the trial recap from this morning. Make sure you subscribe to this channel and stay tuned for more details in this Daily Nerd starting right now. Hey up everyone, it's me, Stef The Alter Nerd, your nerdy alternative, and welcome to another dose of the Daily Nerd, where I break down the news and pop culture stories of the day that's pretty much caught me eye. And oh my goodness, before I jump into all the juicy details with this video's main topic, there is a little bit of housekeeping as always. Firstly, YouTube human reviewer, I see you lurking. I'm not going to say any trigger words or anything that's going to offend your ear holes. And to everyone else awesome enough to have clicked on this video, hey up, how y'all doing? If you've got some strong feelings about Harry's testimony, and I bet you do, then make sure you send me a super thanks. It's just below this video right here. Let's have a conversation about it, because it guarantees a response from me. So, yeah. Let's jump into this one, shall we? This morning it all kicked off again at 10:30 UK time in the morning, and MGN's lawyer went right back into the bloodbath, guys. We started off with this particular article called Harry Carey that was released on the 15th of May 2005. And this is MGN's statement to all of it. They deny a payment of £150 was made for a contribution to this article, and says that actually much of the information came from a confidential source who specialised in royal matters. They claim there had been numerous previous reports about his ongoing knee injury, right? And so going on to this, Duke agrees he gave the injury quotes. So MGN turns around and says that this article, this gave detailed information about the condition of your knee, didn't it? And it also included quotes from you, didn't it? And Prince Harry agreed. So he's turning around and he's saying this article, right? You did unlawful information gathering, this, that, and the other. Lawyer turns around and is like, dude, we got quotes directly from your own gob? Like, did we, unlawfully information gather from your gob? Like, what the deuce? Oh my goodness. It's just making out Harry to be a fool in all of this. And so then he's like, well, it should have been reported anyway because it was only an injury and it wasn't life-threatening. Huh? So Prince Harry suggesting that stories about injuries he suffered could only be of public interest if it was life-threatening. What planet is he living on? Because it ain't Earth, I'm telling you that right now. So discussing an independent article, which is a separate newspaper, that was published before the MGN's article, mind you. Again, this pattern's continuing from yesterday, guys. The MGN lawyer tells the court that a senior officer had raised the issue that other Sandhurst cadets might feel that Azza was getting preferential treatment. And so then he goes back to, yeah, you're back in the realms of speculation, Prince Harry, because you've got no evidence to back up any of your claims with any of these articles whatsoever. But then again, it's back to speculation mode, because Prince Harry responds saying, I believe. Speculation, I believe, right? That's speculative language. At the same time that my number was also in Nick Buckley's Palm Pilot, and he was a prolific hacker. Yeah, you can believe that it was in Nick Buckley's Palm Pilot all you want, but if you don't have the actual straight-up evidence that your number was on his Palm Pilot, then what you chatting it for? Again, his answer proves the MGN's lawyer's point that, dude, you're in the realms of speculation. And what is his answer? Pure speculation. You cannot make this shiz up, guys. And so he then says that this article was littered with inaccuracies, and again admitted to not seeing stories at the time that they were published. Prince Harry says, I'm suggesting that the article was littered with inaccuracies, and the MGN lawyer responds, so it's inaccuracies that you're complaining about? And Prince Harry disagrees with this question, but that's the thing, right? doesn't matter if there's inaccuracies in the story or not. That's not pursuant to his claim, which is, this article, amongst others, you did unlawful information gathering on me. So what if there's inaccuracies in the article? How does that prove of his claim? It doesn't, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. We then go on to discussing two 2006 News of the World articles that were the result of phone hacking. And now he says, following the publication of these articles in the News of the World, then there was a police investigation which focused on phone hacking of members of the royal family and those around them, the MGN lawyer says. Prince Harry says he doesn't recall talking to the Met Police about this, saying it all went through the palace, which that is plausible. That is plausible in terms of how the palace works. Now, this is a really, really good point. The MGN lawyer turns around and says, but there were no arrests of the Mirror Group journalists, after noting that the News of the World journalists were arrested. So the police investigate, and it's like, they look at, the Mirror news group, and it's like, there were arrests on News of the World, but they looked into Mirror, and were there any arrests? I think not. I think not. No evidence whatsoever, even when the police investigated them, of unlawful information gathering. Now, Prince Harry says that there was very little to go on. It was unprecedented. I don't think anyone, even the police, knew how to go about it. In other words, the police didn't know how to do their damn jobs. He doesn't have much faith in the police to do their own jobs. However, a couple of weeks ago, he was fighting to want to hire them as armed protection for him and his family when they visit the UK. So they can do the jobs then when they're protecting him. Oh, yeah. But to actually investigate, nah, they can't do the jobs properly. Dude! And then the lawyer says, then you can assume that any journalist will be taking an enormous risk in hacking you or your brother's phones after the convictions. And Prince Harry responds saying, I believe the risk is worth the reward for them. But again, you can say that the risk is worth the reward for them all day long. But does that comment, again, categorically prove that Mirror News Group unlawfully gathered information from him? No, it does not. Again, he is in the realms of speculation time and time again on the stand. And so, going to Harry's witness statement, MGN's lawyer says he repeatedly made references to call data. And then the lawyer asks if he's aware that there's no call data whatsoever from Mirror journalists linked to Prince Harry's phone, to which then Prince Harry replies, again, realms of speculation here, that burner phones being used explains this. He then says, I believe phone hacking was at an industrial scale at all three of the papers at the time, and that is without a doubt. You can say that's without a doubt, but again, it's the realm of speculation by saying, I believe. He does not provide any evidence to prove that it's without a doubt. That's the problem with this. He then says, I would feel some injustice if it wasn't accepted. And then the lawyer, booyah, is like, do you really want to be a victim? You want to be a victim? Saying, so you want to have your so you want to have been phone hacked? And Prince Harry, after being called out on that, is like, nobody wants to be phone hacked, my lord. Now, we go to the next article, and this is about Chelsea Davy, called, Shell-Shocked, but it's supposed to be Shell-Shocked. It's a play on the words there, that was released on the 9th of April 2006. And MGN's lawyer says that Harry's visit to the Spearmint Rhino Ladies Gentlemen's Club had been widely reported the previous day in other publications. Again, we're back to the same pattern here. Harry says it's factually incorrect to the point that one of the dancers was a tall, statuesque blonde that bore a passing resemblance to Chelsea. It could be factually incorrect, but then that still doesn't prove that there was unlawful information gathering. It just proves that, they got some details wrong. Okay, and if anything, that could actually prove that there was no unlawful information gathering because they got details that were incorrect by Prince Harry's own admission. Like, does he not realise what's coming out of his gob here? And then he says that this article is a classic example of the Mirror being one step behind and trying to catch up to an article published in another paper the day before. Right! Exactly! It was already this case against the press. I'm telling you. Now, he's saying at this point, knowing that my girlfriend's number was bizarrely in the hands of Mirror journalists, they would have access to her call data. Again, where's the evidence for that? Where's his proof? Where's the receipts? He says it's very suspicious that they had her number. I don't believe she would give Mirror Group or any journalist her number. True, but someone close to her could have. Could have sold it to them. Anything. Yeah, she wouldn't have given it out, but someone else could have. But no. He doesn't think that way. It's no, can't be explained, therefore unlawful information gathering. And he points to 3 payments and says one of them is probably, again, realm speculation, probably to someone that works in the club, as that is what I would do if I was a journalist. Again, where's your proof? Realms of speculation here. Going back to the cross-examination, he then focuses on the payments and asks if Harry finds them reason to believe his or Chelsea's phone had been hacked. And he says they're all incredibly suspicious. Yeah, suspicious, but still doesn't categorically, without a doubt, in Harry's words, prove that the phones were hacked. We then go on to a Mozambique article, and the MGN lawyer points out that journalists may have known about the trip because it appeared on the Mail on Sunday, a week before MGN newspapers then reported it. And yes, Hazard agrees the information was stated in the Mail on Sunday article. He admits defeat here. He admits defeat time and time again, in my opinion. He tells the court that he never discussed with the palace any details about his relationship with Chelsea in relation to the article published by MGN in 2007 about the couple's romance that was in danger in crisis. He says the suspicious part of it is attributing quotes to a palace source that either doesn't exist or certainly doesn't have any information about me or my girlfriend. How does he know? How does he know? Palace will find out what they need to find out, right? There's no doubt about that. We know this. It's been documented, right? If they want to find something out, they're going to find something out, okay? So for him to turn around and say, palace source that either doesn't exist, how can he say that? Or certainly doesn't have any information about me or my girlfriend. Again, how can he say that? Definitively, he can't. He can't. And to have those 2 options, he doesn't know. It's either this or it's this. No, you've got to be more certain. You've got to be more certain. So he says, so we are in the land of total speculation about whether this was voicemail interception, the MGN lawyer says. And has a response saying, not at all, I don't agree. But you're not definitively saying where the quotes are coming from. You're saying, well, it's either a palace source that doesn't exist or certainly don't have any information about me and my girlfriend. Like, you know, it could be either one of them. No. That is total speculation. That's total speculation. We then go on the 25th article titled Hooray, Harry's Dumped, that was released on the 11th of November 2007. And he says, I'm not entirely sure how anyone would have known we had broken up because, again, we didn't talk about this regularly. Yeah, he didn't talk about it regularly, but then that indicates that it was still talked about. And then the Mirror Group newspaper lawyer then says the information about the split and the quote about the reason for the split is very similar to the News of the World article earlier the same day. And Hazard says he has to admit defeat again. Yes, that's correct. But I believe the first edition of the News of the World story about the fact that I'd been dumped was every reason for an editor to ask journalists, why wasn't this our story? Fine, okay. But again, it was out in the public domain at that point. That's the kicker to all of this. It's out in the public domain. So where's the evidence then of the unlawful information gathering and all of this? We then turn towards how Harry often attended Amica, a club in West London. And he says it wasn't particularly pleasant coming out to a whole heave of paparazzi or otherwise. So it was somewhere I went occasionally, but not regularly, saying I wouldn't say I was there once a month. Okay, but you still went there. Where's the unlawful information gathering? going back to the Hooray Harry's dumped story, he says, going through it now, Hooray Harry is dumped was hurtful to say the least. Oh, that such a private moment was turned into a bit of a laugh, and that the fact that payments were referred to as Project Harry is incredibly disturbing. Yeah, you can say that there's payments attributed to a project called Project Harry, but again, that doesn't indicate that there was any unlawful information gathering, right? The lawyer then asks, you're not suggesting that Hooray Harry was a reference to celebrating that you were being dumped, are you? And Harry says he is. Then the MGN's got him backed in a corner here, banged to rights, because he says, the MGN lawyer, no, actually, the article quotes that Chelsea got tired of his, quote, his hooray lifestyle. It's not celebrating the demise of your relationship. It's like, stop treating everything as an attack against you. Stop trying to play the victim with all of this. This is ridiculous, guys. We then go to the 26th article, titled Down in the Dumped, published back in November 2007. And the MGN lawyer points out that the trial separation was widely reported the day before in all of the Sunday newspapers. And Hazza was like, yep. I'll take your word for it. Again, admitting defeat, guys. And here it is. The biggest admittance of defeat of all. Harry tells the judge he accepts the disputed mirror quotes were reported elsewhere. He tells Mr. Justice Fancourt, which, for you guys that don't understand that title, is basically the judge, okay? Saying, if easier, I accept, rather than going through every single one each time. And then the MGN lawyer turns around and says, so you accept it was reported in other papers? Hazza responds, yes, I can see it on the screen. That is the biggest admittance of defeat that Hazza has made on the stand. This is how he's losing his case against the press. And in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, this is how he's lost the case against the press. He's admitted it here. Admitted defeat. We then go on to the 27th article, titled, okay, if I drop you off here, which was released in December 2007. And Harry tells the court, photographers were only there for pretty much emergencies or big moments of the royal family, be it a wedding, engagements, hospital visits, something like that. To know that a photographer that was there, poised and waiting, is highly suspicious. Still doesn't prove unlawful information gathering. It doesn't. This is all circumstantial. This, again, is all realms of speculation. So what if the photographer was there? They're used to, standing at the gates and royal family coming in and out. It could have just been, you know what, I ain't got anything better to do today, no assignments, no nothing. You know what, I'm going to stand in front of the gates and see if it happens, just on the off chance. Photographers do that, right? We then go to Article 28, titled Harry Fearer's Mobile is Swiped, published in July 2008. Now, MGN's argument is that the story was reported by the Agence France Presse in the morning on the previous day and was later picked up by the Telegraph website before being run in the Daily Mirror the next day. So in other words, it was reported and in the public domain before Mirror Group newspaper then reported. The lawyer then tells the court that the French press quoted someone from the Lesotho Defence Force. The lawyer then reads that palace sources were quoted in the Daily Telegraph when they picked up the article. So it wasn't just only in the public domain that was released by other newspapers before the Mirror Group newspaper, but that, the palace spoke out and gave statements about the story too. And then Harry says there was nothing suspicious about the article other than the attribution to a palace source. So what? It's suspicious? Prove it! Prove that it's suspicious. He isn't proving it's suspicious. He's just saying it. It's all this. It's all this, guys. We then go on to the next article titled Soldier Harry's Taliban that was published in September 2008. And Harry tells the court he didn't talk to people other than Jamie Lowther Pinkerton, a then royal aide, about his feelings about not being able to go back to Afghanistan because, quote, it didn't feel great. He goes on to say that Mr. Lowther Pinkerton was targeted in phone hacking and that he was his point person to turn to about army decisions given his military background, particularly when I was feeling down about the decisions being made. Now, you would think that Mr. Lowther Pinkerton, Prince Asa would be like, can you come on the stand in my defence and, back me up in terms of what I'm saying here? You'd think that would happen, right? Nope. MGN lawyer asks, well, why is he not here to give evidence in this case? This is BS. Asa turns around and says he's finished his role working for the institution, working for myself and his brother, and I think he would prefer to have a quiet family life after settling his phone hacking case. BS, don't matter. This kind of court case where there's high stakes involved, you would throw everything in the kitchen sink at it. You'd get him on the phone and be like, I've got this case, you're involved, I need you on the stand to back me up. Simple as. His reason is BS. We then go on the 30th article, titled, He Just Loves Boozing and Army, She's Fed Up and Is Heading Home, that was published in January 2009. MGN's lawyer claims that the article was broken as a world exclusive by the News of the World on the 24th of January in a lengthy article that had a lot of detail. And asked whether Chelsea might have changed her Facebook relation status, the Duke says, I doubt she would have done that. Well, firstly, News of the World reported it before MGN, again, but the pattern continues. And secondly, how can he turn around and say, well, I doubt Chelsea would have changed her Facebook status from together to single? How can he say that? Chelsea could have done it. It could have been one of her mates that did it. Could have been anyone linked to Chelsea. It does not necessarily mean that her changing her relation status on Facebook is nefarious to the point where it's linked to this whole phone hacking situation. Dude's butter. Then MGN lawyer then gets to a point, it's like, right, okay, any particular information from the Mirror article that you deem is particularly suspicious? And he points out there's lots of quotes attributed to a friend of the couple. And he points to very expensive payments that were referenced. Okay, well, give me evidence of the very expensive payments that were referenced that proves unlawful information gathering, and the quotes attributed to a friend of the couple, and how does that prove unlawful information gathering? It doesn't. They could have reasonably spoken to a source, a friend of the couple. It happens all the freaking time. Now we go on to the next article, What a Way to Harry On, that was published in March 2009. And here, he admits defeat. Again, he admits the story seems to be copy and pasted from a previous report by the Press Association. And so then, when the MGN lawyer asks whether Prince Harry is suggesting that there's anything suspicious in this article that suggests unlawful information gathering by the Mirror, he says, yes, even though he's just admitted it's a copy and paste from a previous report from another newspaper source. But no, it still suggests that there's unlawful information gathering because I've been shown 6 payments to private investigators, both private and commercial, he says, adding, though, that the evidence has been destroyed. Oh, what a shame that the evidence has been destroyed. Well, there's no evidence. There's no evidence. We're in realms of speculation again. How does he know that the evidence has been destroyed? How does he know that the evidence has been destroyed? We then go towards the final articles here. And there's a story titled Chelsea's New Fella, published in April 2009. And the MGN lawyer says Chelsea's supposed friends seem to have been sharing information about her relationship to the press, which is where the Mirror Group newspaper journalists obtain their information from. Harry responds saying, not people, one person, and even then, I would question the validity of this email. You can question the validity of the email all you want. But unless you've analysed the email, done a forensic analysis to prove that it's dodgy as hell, questioning the validity of this email, again, does not then directly prove that there's unlawful information gathering. We go then further into realms of speculation because he adds, in the other case that I have ongoing, it's known that Rebecca Brooks was creating emails. Okay, but Can you prove that she created this email? No. Therefore, what unlawful information gathering, right? So we turn to Article 15, which was missed out yesterday. So this is a little bit of a clean-up here for what was missed. So we go towards Harry is a Chelsea fan that was released back in November 2004. In Harry's witness statement, he writes that he can't understand how any of the media knew where they were or who she was. So in other words, because he can't understand where they got the information from equals unlawful information gathering, right? That's his logic as far as I can tell. It's insane. The MGN lawyer tells the court that 2 days prior to the MGN article, it was public knowledge that Harry had been with a mystery blonde in Argentina, saying that the inevitable consequences was that the media wanted to try and discover her identity. Reasonable. And it was already public knowledge. It was in the public domain that he was with someone in Argentina at that point. So the hunt was on to get her identity. Yeah, of course. It's how the media works with well-known people like this. Then, my goodness, MGN continues to show receipts when Haz hasn't shown one receipt whatsoever. So MGN's lawyer shows the court an internal MGN document, which is a night log, and it shows one of its journalists working on finding out the identity of a blonde girl that Harry was with the help of a freelancer. And the lawyer says, quote, what this shows is that locals in Argentina were telling the press that the name of this young woman was Chelsea or Kelsey. So, evidence that they were getting information from legitimate sources, that this was not another case of, as Harry would put it, unlawful information gathering. And here's the evidence. And the lawyer then also shows the court that a name had been published 2 days prior to their article being released. To which then Hazard again has to admit defeat and responds with a very quiet, yeah, I bet that were quiet. Backed in a corner, he had nowhere else to go to try and explain how that was unlawful information gathering. And then the lawyer says, by the time of the article in the Daily Mirror, her identity and your relationship were already in the public domain, weren't they? And again, he asks to admit defeat, and he says yes. And so then the lawyer tells the court that Mr. Harwood is making the point that the 3 construction workers were his source to certain aspects of the story, and that this was not, again, another case, as Harry would put it, as unlawful information gathering. We then go into a little bit of the News of the World here, and the MGN lawyer says, unlike the position of the News of the World, you've never been able to identify any story in an MGN newspaper which was written as a result of a message left on your phone, were you? But guess what? He kind of avoids answering that question, because think about what he says here. That's a question for my legal team. No, that's a question to you. That's the MGN lawyer asking a question to you. You're on the stand, not your legal team. But I believe phone hacking started at Mirror Group. Yeah, and we're in the realms of speculation here. But he does not say, yes, I've been able to identify a story in an MGN newspaper which was a result of a message left on my phone, or no, I wasn't able to identify a story in an MGN newspaper which was as a result of a message left on my phone. He doesn't answer this question. He avoids answering the question here. Oh, but then we go back to the wham moment, because he's a victim here, guys. He adds that he believes that there was industrial scale destruction of evidence of unlawful information gathering in relation to him, to which, the MGN lawyer asks, where are you getting this idea from? And he says, my legal team. Dude, where's your evidence? Where's the evidence that they destroyed evidence of this? And then the lawyer asks whether he thinks his phone was consistently hacked throughout the 15-year period between 96 and 2011, which is the time period that makes up his claim against MGN. And Harry responds, it could have been happening on a daily basis. I simply don't know. And that's the point. He doesn't know. Asked if he was aware of any evidence to show this. And again, admits defeat. He says, no, that's part of the reason I'm here. Yeah. If you're going to go to the High Court and you're going to make these kind of claims, right? It can't just be based on pure freaking speculation and say, I believe, and there was this, but there's no evidence because it's been destroyed, or I do have a witness, but I don't really want to put them on the stand because I don't want to put them through all of this, blah, 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 blah. No, no. You come to court, you make your accusation, and you back it up with evidence that is not speculative. Because on the other side of the coin, what's happened? MGN, every step of the way, is like, dude, you're wrong. Here's the evidence. Dude, you're wrong. Here's the evidence. Time and time again, MGN is coming in with the receipts, and Harry's got none. But you know what? With that being said, he has absolutely, time and time again, admitted defeat on the stand. The biggest admittance of defeat, where he turns round to judge and he says, yeah, I will fully accept right now that all the quotes in relation to every single article that I've brought to this case, they were all reported in previous articles, in previous newspapers, not linked, not owned by MGN. That's the biggest admittance of defeat. And out of all of this is how, as far as I'm concerned, he has lost the case against the press in this instance. And with that being said, enough with my gob. It's now time for your gobs. If you appreciated this video and you want more, believe me, woo, there's going to be more. Watch out for later on today. There'll be a second recap from this afternoon's activities, so do stay tuned for that. Make sure, though, that you do subscribe to join our Alter Nerd tribe so you are alerted of my second video. Like, share, comment down below your opinion, conspiracy theories, whatever's on this one. Also, as well, if you've got some very strong feelings about Harry's testimony from this morning, and I bet you do, then make sure you send me a super thanks. It's just below this video right here. We can have a conversation about this because it does guarantee a response from me. And until the next time, you guys, laters.